Can you tell me how the County Council first became involved with holding agricultural holdings?
It goes back till after the First World War. I think it was one of those providing facilities for heroes to come home to. Bought for by county funds on a loan from the government.
What led to the decision to consider selling them off?
I think you have to understand in historical context we've been selling farms off almost since the day we bought them, because some of them didn't fit in with the way we do things. Agriculture itself is changing rapidly, as we all know, and the economics of ownership of various pieces of land are always subject to review.
So is the decision now to sell off all of the holdings, or just selective ones?
I think we made it clear all along. We were just accelerating a process that we already had in place, which was, and we agreed to do a farm-by-farm review, which I have to say we hadn't done for a while. So a farm-by-farm review was an interesting exercise and a worthwhile exercise to give us an up-to-date either value of the estate or what we're going to do with it. As regards to, we didn't close down any options, and I've still left our options open. It would seem that the officers seem to think that perhaps we will be in a position to sell about 2/3 of our holding and keep a third.
Do you think there's a market out there for the land?
Well, the farmland is probably the most valuable and easily convertible asset we have. Historically, farm auctions have always brought in far more than we would expect the value of the holding to realise. I think lots of people like the country idyll, and I suppose if you sold the proverbial semi in Fulham, you might wish to go and buy a county farm and retire to Somerset. I suspect the reality is rather different when you actually get into it.
How does agriculture figure in the strategy for the county?
Well, in the strategy for the county council, I would have to say not very highly. It's not one of our core businesses, and I'm on record as saying to people in the past, I know how we got here, but I've never been fully convinced that the county council should be in the business of running farms. It seems like we're actually not in the business of running farms. It seems like we're in the business of land management, which is slightly different.
Have you explored the possibilities of passing the agricultural estate on to some other organisation to run?
Yes, and we are in discussions with them. I mean, I suspect they would be rather more hard-nosed businessmen than we are, actually. I don't think the tenants themselves consider a new landlord would be any better than the one they've got.
So what are the next steps now?
The next steps is we negotiate with the individual farmers concerned as to the cost of their holding, the value of their holding to them, and indeed the value of their holding to us. And each will be done, I have to say, privately, because it's not for us to discuss in the great wider world individual circumstances. But I suspect within the next couple of months we would have had a pretty firm response as to which way each individual farmer wishes to go.
One thing I would say about it, we did have a chat to a couple of tenant farmers, and they'd been given forms that said, would you be prepared to buy all or various bits of your holding, but there was no value attached to it, so I think they're all a little bit...
No, and you would be surprised, you wouldn't be surprised to know that most people said yes, they would be interested in buying their farm, because I suspect if it was your livelihood and your place of residence, you would be interested, but you don't know how interested you are until you find out what it's actually valued at. And I have to say these are valuations that we have come to with independent surveyors, or independent valuers, should I say, and they, as I said earlier, might not actually reflect the true market value of the estate, because, as I say, I think that the estate attracts interest from a wide range of people. We are trying to be very fair to our tenants, and we've said all along we would like to give our tenants first refusal. I think that's only right and proper.
So can you give me a time scale for when they will know what the
We will have all the valuations done within the next couple of weeks, and we will have communicated that to the individuals concerned, and we've given them options to buy the farmhouse plus, a certain percentage of the land or the whole estate. It's entirely up to them.
I suppose I take your point that you don't feel that the county's place is to be managing agriculture, but I just wonder if you had any thoughts on one of the major concerns in the agricultural world, I suppose, is how you actually get young entrants into farming and try and bring down the average age from where it currently is at somewhere 60 plus, I believe. Mm-hmm. Have you any thoughts on that?
I do have some thoughts on it. I mean, I think the current way the estate is structured does not leave much room for new entrants anyway. There is a logjam because when we have people on farming business tenancies, they've really got not too many places to go after they've done their 10 or 12 years. So the idea of them being a starter farm is not really realistic. They are actually not starter farms. They give those lucky few individuals who historically have got into the farming situation that way, but once they've got in, I've only met one or perhaps two individuals in this whole consultation process said that was a great start. I got on the ladder farming and I've moved on to have my own farm. There is no progression. And then I have a responsibility to all the ratepayers in Somerset to get best value for their money. And this is a hugely subsidised form of start-up for anything. I mean, we don't subsidise start-ups in any other form of life, as far as I can understand.
Sorry, I understood that there was an income from the farm rents that actually gave the county a profit. Is that not the case?
Well, the way the estate is managed, we do show a profit. I can't deny that. Some years we show a profit, some years we show a loss. Last year we lost money on the estate. Previous to that, we typically make anything between £400,000 or £600,000 a year, which sounds on the surface, that's pretty good money, but not if it's a 50 or 60 million pound, 40, 50, 60 million pound asset. It's not a very good return on your money. I found the whole process quite interesting. And I've been here since 1985, so I have been well aware of this issue for many a time. And whilst times were good, and almost ever since I've been here, we've, as politicians, albeit junior local politicians, we've been used to sort of having arguments about how we would spend an ever-increasing size of public cake. The world has changed very rapidly in the last 18 months, and certainly in the last couple of 100 days, it has changed a lot for the worst. And I have to say, pretty much everything we do now has a mantra: is it nice to do, or do we have to do it? And I have to say, currently we are struggling to fulfill our have to do things with the resources that we've got. So managing this farmland into the future is a nice to do thing, and all property decisions are invariably long term, and with the luxury of time we wouldn't be doing it this way. Unfortunately, we don't have time.